Alex Cooper stared out the window of the spaceship horizon's edge, stars filled the black space around them. He had been on the ship for 6 months now. At 22 years old, he was the youngest person on the crew. Most days he felt like he did not belong here. Cooper, get to the bridge, came a voice over the radio. It was Captain Jake Morrison. Alex hurried through the metal halls of the ship. His boots made loud sounds on the floor. When Alex reached the bridge, he saw everyone looking worried. Captain Morrison stood at the front. He was a big man with gray hair. Commander Lisa Parker stood next to him. She always looked serious. What's wrong, sir? Alex asked. We found something, the captain said. He pointed to the big screen in front of them. Look. Alex looked at the screen. A huge planet filled the view. It was blue and green, like Earth, but around the planet were ships. These ships were not like human ships. They were smooth and silver. They looked like they could move very fast. Are those alien ships? Alex asked. Yes, said Commander Parker, and they found us first. Suddenly the ship shook. Alex grabbed onto a chair to stay standing. Red lights began flashing. A loud alarm filled the air. Captain, they're pulling us in, said the pilot Amy Chen. Her hands moved fast over the controls. I can't break free. Captain Morrison's face was hard. All hands prepare for contact. This is not a drill. Alex felt his heart beating fast. In all his training, he never thought this would really happen. Meeting aliens was something from movies and books. Now it was real. The ship shook again. Through the window, Alex could see one of the alien ships getting closer. It was huge, much bigger than their ship. Strain blue lights moved along its surface. Sir, said Pete Wilson from his station. He was the ship's security chief. They're sending us a message. Put it on screen, the captain said. The screen changed. Now it showed the inside of the alien ship. Alex's mouth fell open. The aliens looked almost human, but different. They were tall and thin. Their skin was pale blue. Their eyes were large and silver. They wore clothes that looked like they were made of metal. One of the aliens stepped forward. He wore a crown-like thing on his head. When he spoke, the words came out in English. Their technology must have translated it. Human ship, the alien said. His voice was cold. You have entered Zephyrian space. You will come with us now. Do not try to fight. Your weapons are weak compared to ours. Captain Morrison stepped forward. This is Captain Jake Morrison of Earth. We come in peace. We were just exploring. The alien on the screen looked angry. Humans, he said like it was a bad word. We have heard of your kind. You are young and foolish. You think you are strong, but you are not. You will come to our world. Our emperor will decide what to do with you. The screen went black. The ship shook one more time, then became very smooth. Alex looked out the window. They were moving toward the planet, but not under their own power. They're pulling us in with some kind of beam, Amy said. I can't control the ship. Captain Morrison turned to face his crew. Listen, everyone, we knew this might happen when we came out here. We represent all of humanity now. We need to be brave and smart. Show them what humans are made of. Alex felt scared, but also excited. This was the most important thing that had ever happened to him, maybe to anyone. The trip to the planet took 2 hours. During that time, the crew prepared. They put on their best uniforms. Captain Morrison chose 6 people to go with him to meet the Aliens? Alex was surprised when the captain picked him. Sir, are you sure? Alex asked. I'm just the communications officer. There are others with more experience. You're part of this crew. Cooper, the captain said, and sometimes fresh eyes see things that old ones miss. When they landed on the alien planet, Alex could not believe what he saw. The city was made of tall silver towers that reached into the clouds. Flying vehicles moved between the buildings. Everything looked perfect and clean. The aliens who met them were soldiers. They carried weapons that looked like they could cut through anything. The soldiers led the humans through wide streets made of some kind of crystal. People stopped to stare at them. The aliens whispered to each other and pointed. Alex felt like an animal in a zoo. Some of the aliens looked curious, others looked angry or disgusted. They walked for a long time until they reached a huge building in the center of the city. It was like a palace made of gold and silver. Giant doors opened as they approached. Inside, the palace was even more amazing. The walls were covered with pictures that seemed to move. Lights floated in the air without anything holding them up. The ceiling was so high that Alex could not see the top. They walked through many rooms until they reached the biggest room of all. It was the throne room. Hundreds of aliens stood along the walls. They all wore fancy clothes and jewelry. At the far end of the room sat a huge throne. On it sat the alien who had spoken to them on their ship. This had to be the Emperor. Next to him stood a younger alien. This one was female. Alex could tell she was beautiful in a strange way. Her skin was the same pale blue, but it seemed to glow. Her silver eyes looked very smart. The Emperor stood up, so he said in a loud voice, "These are humans. They look weak too." Me, Captain Morrison stepped forward. "Your Majesty, we come in peace. We want to learn about your people and share knowledge." The Emperor laughed. It was not a nice sound. Share knowledge? What could you possibly teach us? Your ships are slow. Your weapons are simple. Your bodies are soft. We may not be as advanced as you, the captain said, but humans have other strength. Prove it. The Emperor said. His eyes became hard. "I challenge your people to trials. If you pass, we will talk. If you fail, we will send you back to your little planet and tell you never to return." Alex felt his stomach drop. Trials sounded dangerous. The Emperor continued. "Bring forward your finest warriors. Let us see what humans are made of." Captain Morrison looked at his team. He pointed to Commander Parker, Pete Wilson, and 3 other crew members. They stepped forward. Alex stayed back. He was not a warrior. He was just the communications officer. The aliens in the room began to talk among themselves. They looked at the humans like they were judging animals. Then something unexpected happened. The female alien next to the Emperor stepped down from the platform. She walked toward the humans. Her silver eyes looked at each person carefully. She stopped in front of Commander Parker. She studied her for a moment, then moved on. She looked at Pete Wilson, then the others. Finally her eyes fell on Alex. Alex felt like those silver eyes could see right through him. She stared at him for a long time. Alex tried not to look away, but it was hard. Then she raised her hand and pointed right at Alex. "That one," she said in a clear voice that filled the room. "He will be mine." The entire throne room became silent. Alex felt like he could not breathe. Everyone was staring at him. The other humans looked shocked. The aliens looked confused. Emperor and LT Uncan GT face showed surprise. Zarathul, what are you doing? He is clearly the weakest among them. Princess Zarathul did not take her eyes off Alex. He will be mine, she said. Again he will face the trials. Alex's world turned upside down. How had this happened? He was just supposed to help with communications, now an alien. Princess had chosen him for trials that could decide the fate of humanity. Captain Morrison put a hand on Alex's shoulder. Cooper, he said quietly. Looks like you're our champion now. Alex looked at the princess. She was still staring at him with those strange silver eyes. He did not understand why she had chosen him, but he knew one thing for sure: his life had just changed forever. Alex could not sleep that night. The aliens had given the humans rooms in the palace. The room was nice, with a bed that was too soft and walls that glowed with soft light, but Alex's mind would not stop racing. Why had the princess chosen him? He was not strong like Pete Wilson. He was not smart like Commander Parker. He was just a young man who was good with radios and computers. A soft sound came from his door. Alex sat up in bed. Come in, he said. The door opened without anyone touching it. Princess Zarathul walked in. She moved like a cat, quiet and smooth. In the soft light of the room, her blue skin seemed to glow even more. You are afraid, she said. It was not a question. Alex stood up quickly. Your Highness, yes, I'm afraid. I don't understand why you picked me. She walked closer to him. Sit, she said, pointing to the bed. I will tell you. Alex sat down. The princess sat in a chair across from him. Her silver eyes studied his face. My people value strength above all else, she said. The strongest warrior becomes the leader. The strongest hunter gets the best food. The strongest student gets the best teachers. That makes sense. Alex, does it? She asked. Tell me about your people. How do you choose leaders? Alex thought about it. We vote for them. We pick people who are smart or kind or who have good ideas. Sometimes we pick people who are strong, but not always. The princess nodded. And how do you hunt? Most of us don't hunt anymore, Alex said. We grow food on farms. We work together to make sure everyone has enough to eat. Interesting, she said. And how do you fight wars? Alex felt uncomfortable. We try not to fight wars. When we do, we use strategy and teamwork. The strongest person is not always the best soldier. Princess Zarathul leaned forward. This is why I chose you. I don't understand, Alex said. When I looked at your group, I saw what my people would see: strong warriors, fierce fighters, people who would try to beat us with force. She paused. But you were different. You stood behind the others. You did not try to look strong, but your eyes were watching everything, learning. Alex felt his face get warm. I was just scared. No, she said firmly. You were thinking. My people have forgotten how to think. We only know how to fight. She stood up and walked to the window. Tomorrow you will face your first trial. It will be combat against our champions. Alex's stomach dropped. I'll lose. I've never been good at fighting. Probably, she said, not turning around. But that is not the point. What is the point? She turned to look at him. The point is to show my people that there are different kinds of strength, that the human way might be better than the Zapirian way. But if I lose, they'll think humans are weak. Princess Zarathul smiled for the first time. It changed her whole face. Alex Cooper, do you know what my father said when I told him I wanted to study other worlds instead of learning to Fight, what did he say? He said I was weak, that I would never be a good leader because I cared more about books than battles. Her smile faded, but I learned something from those books. I learned that the strongest civilizations are not the ones with the best weapons. They are the ones that can change and grow. Alex felt a little better, but still scared. What happens if I fail the trials? Then my father will send people away and things will stay the same here. She walked back toward the door. But I do not think you will fail. How can you be so sure? She stopped at the door and looked back at him. Because you are already asking the right questions. After she left, Alex lay back down on the bed. He still could not sleep, but now he felt different. Maybe he could not win the trials with strength, but maybe he could win them in other ways. The next morning came too soon. Alex met the other humans for breakfast. The food was strange, but tasted good. Captain Morrison looked worried. Cooper, are you ready for this? The captain asked. No, sir, Alex said honestly, but I'll do my best. Pete Wilson put a hand on Alex's shoulder. Kid, I taught you some basic fighting moves during the trip. Remember what I said about using your opponent's strength against them? Commander Parker nodded. And remember, you're representing all of humanity. Show them what we're made of. Amy Chen smiled at him. We believe in you, Alex. After breakfast, guards came to take Alex to the arena. The other humans were allowed to come and watch. The arena was huge, with seats for thousands of aliens. Alex felt very small standing in the center. Emperor Vexthal sat on a high platform, with Princess Zarathal beside him. His voice boomed across the arena when he spoke. Today the human will face Keithel, champion of the arena. Let us see if humans are as weak as they look. A gate opened on the other side of the arena. Out walked the biggest alien Alex had ever seen. Keith Maul was twice as tall as Alex and covered in muscles. He carried a weapon that looked like a glowing sword. Alex had been given a similar weapon, but it felt heavy and awkward in his hands. The alien walked toward him slowly, like he was in no hurry. Human, Keithal said in a deep voice, I will try not to hurt you too much. The fight began with a loud horn. Keith Maul moved faster than Alex expected. The alien's weapon came down toward Alex's head. Alex jumped to the side just in time. The crowd cheered for Keith Maul. Alex tried to remember what Pete had taught him. Use your opponent's strength against them, but how could he do that when the alien was stronger and faster? Kemmel attacked again. This time Alex could not dodge completely. The alien's weapon hit Alex's arm. Pain shot through his body, but Alex did not fall down. Stay down, human, Keith Maul said. This will be easier for both of us. Alex looked up at the crowd. Thousands of aliens were watching him. Most looked bored, like they were watching something they had seen many times before, but some looked curious. Alex stood up. His arm hurt badly, but he could still move it. I'm not staying down, he said. Keithal looked surprised. You cannot win. Why do you continue? Alex thought about what the princess had said. Show them that there are different kinds of strength, because giving up is not the human way. The alien champion attacked again and again. Each time Alex got hit, each time he got back up, the crowd began to change. They were not bored anymore. Some were even cheering for Alex. After 10 minutes, Alex was covered in bruises and cuts, but he was still standing. Keithal looked tired too. The big alien had expected an easy fight. You fight. Strangely human, Cathmal said during a break. You do not try to win, you only try not to lose. Alex wiped blood from his mouth. Sometimes not losing is the same as winning. Something changed in Keith Mole's eyes. Explain. You're stronger than me, Alex said. Faster, too, but you're getting tired because you have to work hard to beat me. I'm learning how you fight, getting a little better each time. Keithal nodded. Slowly. Interesting. Again they fought for another 10 minutes. This time Alex managed to block some attacks. He even hit Kethel once, though it did not hurt the big alien much. When the horn sounded to end the fight, Alex was still standing. He had lost clearly, but he had not given up. The arena was quiet. Then slowly, some of the aliens began to clap. Not many, but some. Emperor Vexthal looked angry. The human lost. Why do they cheer? Princess Zarathal stood up because they saw something they have not seen before. Father, they saw someone fight not to prove he was strong, but to prove he would not break. Keith Maul walked over to Alex. The big alien held out his hand. You have courage, human. I respect this. Alex shook the alien's hand. Thank you for a good fight. As Alex left the arena, he heard the aliens talking. They were not talking about how weak humans were anymore. They were talking about the young human who would not give up. That night, Princess Zarathal came to his room again. Alex's arm was wrapped in bandages, but he felt good. How do you feel? She asked. Sore, Alex said. But proud you should be. You did something important today. What's the next trial strategy? You will command troops in a war game against our best generals. She smiled. I think you will like this one better. Alex smiled back. Maybe he could not win with strength, but he was starting to think that was okay. There were other ways to be strong. The princess was right. He was asking the right questions, and maybe, just maybe, he could help both humans and Zephyrians find some answers. 3 days passed before the second trial. Alex used the time to heal and learn. Princess Zarathal visited him each day. She taught him about Zephyrian history and war tactics. Your people always attack head-on, Alex said during one of their talks. They sat in a garden behind the palace. Strange blue flowers grew everywhere. Yes, the princess said. We believe the direct path is the honorable path, but what if the direct path gets more people killed? Alex asked. She looked at him with those silver eyes. This is why my father thinks I am weak. I asked the same questions. You're not weak, Alex said. You just think differently. On the morning of the second trial, Alex felt more confident. Fighting was not his strength, but strategy was something he understood. He had always been good at chess and video games back on Earth. The trial took place in a huge room filled with holograms. These light pictures showed a battlefield with mountains, rivers, and forests. Alien generals stood around the room watching. Emperor Vexthal explained the rules. You will command an army of 1,000 soldiers. Your enemy will be General Thexar, our finest military mind. He will also command 1,000 soldiers. The first to capture the enemy's flag wins. General Thexar stepped forward. He was tall and thin, with scars on his face. His eyes were cold. I will not go easy on you because you are young human. I wouldn't want you to, Alex said. The battle began. Alex looked at the holographic battlefield. His troops were represented by blue dots of light. The enemy troops were red dots. He could give orders by speaking or pointing. General Thexar attacked immediately. His Red Army charged straight toward Alex's position. It was exactly what Alex expected. Split the army into 3 groups. Alex commanded Group 1, retreat toward the river, make it look like you're running away. Group 2, hide in the forest on the left. Group 3, circle around the mountains on the right. The watching generals looked confused. The human is running away, one of them said, but Princess Zarathil was watching carefully. She could see what Alex was really doing. General Thexar's army chased Alex's first group toward the river. Just as the general expected, the humans seemed to panic and run, but when the Red Army reached the river, something unexpected happened. Group 2, attack from the left, Alex said. Group 3, attack from behind. Suddenly the army was surrounded. They had been so focused on chasing the first group that they did not notice the trap. Impossible, General said. How did you get troops behind me? I sent them there while you were chasing the others, Alex explained. You were so sure I was running away that you did not look for other possibilities. The general's face grew angry. Tricks and lies, that is not honorable combat. It's not lies, Alex said. It's thinking ahead. The battle continued. Every time General used brute force, Alex found a clever way around it. When the general sent all his troops to attack one position, Alex attacked somewhere else. When the general tried to surround Alex's army, Alex's troops were already gone. The watching aliens began to murmur among themselves. They had never seen warfare like this before. The human fights like water, one general said. He flows around obstacles instead of smashing through them. After 2 hours, Alex's forces captured the enemy flag. General Thexar stared at the holographic battlefield in shock. You had fewer casualties than I did, the general said slowly. How is this possible? I tried not to fight battles I couldn't win, Alex explained. Instead, I fought battles where I had advantages. Emperor Vexthal looked troubled. This style of warfare is unusual. It's effective, Father, Princess Zarathil said, the human one with fewer losses. But it lacks honor, General Thexar protested. A true warrior faces his enemies directly. Alex stepped forward. With respect, General, I think there's honor in keeping your soldiers alive. Dead heroes can't protect their families. Several aliens in the room nodded at this. Alex could see that his words made them think. That evening the princess came to Alex's room as usual. But this time she looked worried. You did well today, she said. Too well. What do you mean? And GT. General Thexar is not just a military leader, he wants to be the next emperor. He thinks my father is too weak. She sat down heavily. Your victory today made him look foolish. That makes him dangerous. Alex felt a chill. Dangerous. How? There is one more trial, the trial of survival. You and I will be sent into the Crimson Wastes together. It is a desert where many dangerous creatures live. We must survive for 3 days and return. That doesn't sound so bad, Alex said. The princess shook her head. You don't understand. The car will try to make sure we don't come back. He cannot kill us directly, but the desert is dangerous. Accidents happen there. Alex felt his heart beating faster. Why are you going with me? It is tradition. One who chooses the champion must share their fate. She looked at him with sad Eyes, I am sorry, Alex, I have put you in great danger. Hey, Alex said gently. I chose to accept this, you didn't force me. She smiled a little. You are kind. This is not a Zephyrian trait. Maybe it should be, Alex said. They spent the rest of the evening planning for the trial. The princess taught Alex about the creatures in the desert and how to find water. Alex shared some human survival techniques he had learned in training. Your people prepare for many different situations, she observed. We have too, Alex said. Humans don't have natural armor or claws. We survive by being ready for anything. The next morning, Alex said goodbye to his crew mates. Captain Morrison looked worried. Be careful out there, son, the captain said. Don't try to be a hero. I'll bring him back, sir, Alex promised. Commander Parker gave him a small device. It's a radio beacon, she said. Quietly hide it. If things go really bad, we might be able to find you. Amy Chen hugged him. Don't do anything stupid, she said. I'll try not to, Alex said with a smile. Pete Wilson was the last to say goodbye. Kid, remember what I taught you about reading people out there. Trust your instincts. Alex and Princess Zarathel were taken to the edge of the Crimson Wastes in a flying vehicle. The desert stretched out before them, red sand and rocks as far as they could see. The sun was already hot even though it was morning. 3 days, the pilot said. Return to the spot. If you are not here, we will assume you are dead. Alex shouldered his pack. It contained water, some food, and basic tools. Princess carried similar supplies. Ready, she asked. As ready as I'll ever be, Alex said. They walked into the desert. Behind them, Alex could see the city getting smaller. Ahead was nothing but red sand and danger. After an hour of walking, they heard a sound like thunder. Alex looked up and saw something that made his blood run cold. Flying above them was one of General Thexgar's ships. They're following us, Alex said. Princess Zarathel nodded grimly. It begins. The ship circled overhead for a few minutes, then flew away, but Alex knew it would be back. They'll try to drive us toward the most dangerous areas, the princess said, or maybe drop us off somewhere far from the exit point. Then we need to be smarter than they expect, Alex said. What's the most dangerous place in this desert? The Glass Valley. It is filled with crystal formations that drive creatures mad. No one who enters ever comes out. Alex smiled. Perfect, that's where we're going. The princess stared at him. Alex, I just said no one comes out alive. No one who goes there to stay, Alex said. But what if we only go there to hide? They won't expect that. They'll look for us everywhere except the one place no one survives. Princess Zarathel thought about this. Slowly she began to smile. 2. You are either very clever or very crazy. Maybe both, Alex said. They changed direction and headed toward the Glass Valley. As they walked, Alex felt like they were being watched. Several times he saw movement in the distance, but when he looked directly, nothing was there. We're not alone out here, he told the princess. I know, she said. The desert hunters are following us. They wait for travelers to become weak, then attack. How do we deal with them? Usually, we fight them off until we can escape. She paused. But you would probably say that's the wrong approach. Alex grinned. You're learning fighting is our last option. First, let's try to understand what they want. As the day grew hotter, Alex began to understand why this trial was so dangerous. The sun was merciless. The sand burned through their boots. Strange sounds echoed across the desert, but he also began to understand something else. He and the princess made a good team. She knew the dangers, and he knew how to think around problems. Together they might actually survive this. The question was whether General Theksar would let them. The Glass Valley was the strangest place Alex had ever seen. Tall crystals grew from the ground like trees. They were all different colors: red, blue, green, and purple. When the wind blew through them, they made music. It's beautiful, Alex said. And deadly, Princess Zaratha warned. The crystals affect the mind. Stay close to me. They found a cave between two large crystals. It was small, but it would hide them from anyone flying overhead. Alex set up their camp while the princess kept watch. I found something, she called softly. Alex joined her at the mouth of the cave. She was looking at marks carved into the crystal wall. The marks were old and covered with dust. What do they say? Alex asked. They're in old Zephyrian, she said, studying them carefully. It says, here lies the wisdom of the ancients. Strength comes not from the sword, but from the mind that guides it. Alex felt excited. Your ancestors thought differently than your people do now. Yes, she said quietly. My father always said the old ways were weak, but these writings suggest something else. They spent the evening exploring the cave. Deep inside they found more writings and pictures carved into the walls. The picture showed Zephyrians working together, building cities, creating art. These ancestors looked happy. They valued cooperation, Alex said, looking at one picture. Like humans. Do my people have forgotten this? The princess said sadly. We only remember the wars. That night, as they sat by a small fire, Alex asked her about her childhood. I was always different, she said. While other children played war games, I liked to read. I wanted to understand why things worked, not just break them. That sounds lonely, Alex said. It was. My father tried to make me stronger. He sent me to fight training every day, but I was never good at it. I was too small. She stared into the fire. When I became old enough to choose a husband, he expected me to pick the strongest warrior, but you picked me instead, Alex said. The weakest. She looked at him with those silver eyes. No, Alex, I picked the most interesting. The next morning they heard ships overhead. Through a crack in the cave roof, Alex could see 3 aircraft circling the valley. General Theksar is not giving up, the princess said. Good, Alex said. Let him waste time looking for us. Meanwhile, we can explore more of these caves. They went deeper into the crystal caves. What they found amazed them both. The caves were full of old Zephyrian technology, machines that still worked after thousands of years, books made of metal that told stories of the past. This is incredible, Alex said. Why don't your people know about this place? Because they're afraid of it, the princess said. They think the crystals will drive them mad, but we're fine, Alex pointed out. Maybe, she said slowly, the crystals only affect those who come here with violence in their hearts. Alex thought about this. It made sense. The old writings talked about wisdom and cooperation. Maybe the crystals were a test. On the second day, they made a discovery that changed everything. Deep in the largest cave, they found a room filled with star maps. These maps showed the locations of hundreds of worlds. My people think they know the galaxy, the princess said, staring at the maps. But this shows There are thousands of civilizations. We've never met. Your ancestors were explorers, Alex realized. They wanted to meet other species, not conquer them. Suddenly, they heard sounds from outside the cave. Someone was coming. Alex and the princess hid behind a large crystal. Through the colorful light, they saw General Thixgar and 6 soldiers enter the valley. Search every cave, the general ordered. The princess and the human must be here somewhere, sir. One soldier said nervously. The crystals are said to be dangerous. Legends. The Xgar snapped. Find them. Alex watched as the soldiers spread out. One of them was coming toward their cave. Alex looked at the princess and made a decision. Stay here, he whispered. I have an idea. Before she could stop him, Alex walked out of the cave. The soldier saw him immediately and raised his weapon. General, the soldier called, I found the human. Thixgar and the other soldiers came running. They surrounded Alex with their weapons pointed at him. Where is the princess? Thixgar demanded. Safe, Alex said. Away from you. The general's face twisted with anger. You think you are clever, human, but you are trapped. Now am I? Alex asked calmly. That's when the princess stepped out of the cave, but she was not alone. With her Camathal, the arena champion. The big alien looked angry. General Thixgar, Kethmal said in his deep voice. What are you doing here, Keith? The general said, surprised. We were searching for the princess, making sure she was safe. With weapons drawn, Kethal asked, this does not look like a rescue. Alex realized what had happened. Kethal must have followed them into the desert. The big alien had probably been watching out for them. The human is dangerous, General Thixgar said. Quickly, he is corrupting the princess with his strange ideas. What strange ideas? Kethmal asked. Alex stepped forward. The idea that there are better ways to solve problems than violence. The idea that different species can work together. The idea that wisdom is more valuable than strength. Lies, Thixgar said. Human weakness. Then why came a new voice? Do these caves show that our ancestors believe the same things? Everyone turned. From the cave came more aliens, but these were not soldiers. They were scholars and scientists, people who had been studying the old writings. Dr. Zelenth, the princess said with relief. How did you find us? The old alien scholar smiled. We have been watching these caves for years, princess. When we saw the ships overhead, we came to investigate. Dr. Zelenth walked over to General Thixgar. These caves contain the true history of our people, General, a history that shows we were once explorers and builders, not just warriors. Ancient nonsense, Thixgar said, but Alex could see doubt in his eyes. Is it? Kethal asked. He looked at Alex. Human, you fought me in the arena. You could have given up, but you did not. Why? Because giving up helps no one, Alex said. Sometimes you have to keep trying, even when you know you might lose. Kethal nodded slowly. And in the war game you won without destroying your enemies' army. Why? Because destroying your enemies just makes more enemies. Alex said, it's better to find ways to work together. The big alien was quiet for a moment. Then he said, these are not weak ideas. They are interesting ideas. General Thixgar looked around at the faces watching him. His soldiers were lowering their weapons. They looked confused and uncertain. You are all fools, the general said. This human is making you weak. No, Princess Zarathal said firmly. He is making us think. That's when Alex made another decision. He walked over to General Theekskar. "General," he said quietly, "you're a smart man. You know how to fight, how to lead. Your people respect you. What is your point?" "Human," Theksar said coldly. "My point is that someone like you could help both our species. You could be part of something bigger than just war." "I will never work with humans," the general said. "Not with me," Alex said, "but maybe with the idea that there are better ways to be strong." Alex could see the general thinking. Theekskar was proud, but he was not stupid. He could see that Alex was offering him respect, not demanding surrender. "I will consider your words," the general said finally, "but I make no promises." It was not much, but it was a start. The group spent the rest of the day exploring the caves together. Keithel was fascinated by the old technology. Dr. Zelenth translated more of the ancient writings. Even some of the soldiers seemed interested in what they found. That evening, as they prepared to leave the valley, Princess Zarethel pulled Alex aside. "You did something amazing today," she said. "What do you mean?" "You could have fought Theksar. Instead, you tried to understand him. You offered him a place in your vision instead of treating him as an enemy." Alex smiled. "I learned that from you. You showed me that the strongest thing you can do is try to see the good in people." She looked at him for a long moment. "When we return to the city tomorrow, there will be celebrations. You will have passed all the trials." "What happens then?" Alex asked. "Then," she said, "we decide what comes next for both our peoples." As they walked out of the Glass Valley the next morning, Alex felt different. He had come to this planet as a scared young man who did not think he belonged anywhere important. Now he was walking beside an alien princess, followed by warriors and scholars who were all talking about new ideas. Ideas about cooperation instead of conquest. Ideas about building instead of destroying. The trials were almost over. But Alex was beginning to think that the real work was just beginning. The journey back to the city was different than Alex expected. Word had spread about what happened in the Glass Valley. Aliens lined the streets to see the human who had survived the trials. But they were not just looking at Alex. They were looking at Princess Zarethel, too. She walked beside him with her head high, no longer hiding her beliefs. "They're staring at us," Alex said quietly. "Let them," she replied. "It's time they saw that their princess is not ashamed of new ideas." At the palace, Emperor Vexthel waited for them in the throne room. The room was packed with nobles, generals, and scholars. Alex could see Captain Morrison and his crew standing to one side. They looked relieved to see him alive. "So," the Emperor said when Alex and the princess approached the throne, "you have completed all 3 trials." "Yes, Your Majesty," Alex said. "And what did you learn from these trials?" the Emperor asked. Alex thought carefully before answering. "I learned that strength comes in many forms. I learned that your people and mine have more in common than we thought, and I learned that the best solutions usually come from working together." General Theekskar stepped forward. Alex tensed, but the general did not look angry anymore. "Your Majesty," Theekskar said, "I followed the human and princess into the desert. I saw what they found in the Glass Valley." "And what did they find?" the Emperor asked. "The true history of our people," Dr. Zelenth said, joining the conversation. "Evidence that our ancestors valued wisdom and cooperation as much as strength." The Emperor and LT Unk and GT. Face showed surprise. This is possible, more than possible, Princess. Zarathil said, Father, I want to show you something. She produced a small device from her pack. When she activated it, holograms filled the air above them. The holograms showed the star maps they had found, the ancient writings, the pictures of Zapirians working together. The room fell silent as everyone stared at the images. These are our real ancestors, the princess said, not just warriors but explorers, builders, thinkers. They reached out to other worlds, not to conquer them but to learn from them. Emperor Vexthal studied the holograms for a long time. If this is true, he said slowly, then we have forgotten who we really are. It's not too late to remember, Alex said. Humans would be honored to help you rediscover your heritage, and maybe you could help us learn from your technology and wisdom. You propose an alliance, the Emperor asked. I propose friendship, Alex said. Between equals. General Thixgar stepped forward again. Your Majesty, I have thought about the humans' words. Perhaps there is strength in cooperation that I have not considered. This surprised everyone. Thexar was known for his hatred of weakness, explained. The Emperor commanded. The human defeated me in the war game, not through strength but through thinking. Thixgar said, our enemies would not expect such tactics. If we combined our warrior strength with human strategy, we would be stronger than either of us alone, Alex finished. The Emperor looked around the room. He could see the faces of his people. Some looked excited, others looked worried, but all of them looked interested. This is a big decision, the Emperor said. I will need time to think, of course, Captain Morrison said, speaking for the first time. But while you think, perhaps our peoples could start with small steps, share some knowledge, learn about each other. Like what? The Emperor asked. Well, Alex said, we could show you some human music and art. You could show us more of your technology and history. People could visit each other's ships. Princess Zarathil smiled. And I could travel to Earth, learn about human civilization firsthand. This caused a stir in the room. Azirian princess traveling to another world was almost unheard of. Absolutely not, Emperor Vexthal said quickly. It is too dangerous, Father, the princess said firmly. I am not a child. I have proven myself in these trials alongside Alex. I can handle the journey. Alex looked at her with surprise. She had never mentioned wanting to come to Earth before. If the princess comes to Earth, Captain Morrison said diplomatically, he would be treated as an honored guest. We would ensure her safety and I would go with her, Alex said, as her guide and friend. The Emperor stared at his daughter. Alex could see the worry in his eyes, but also something else, pride. You really believe this alliance would benefit both our peoples? The Emperor asked. Yes, Father, the princess said. I believe it could be the beginning of something wonderful. The Emperor was quiet for a long time. Finally he stood up from his throne. Very well, he said. We will try this. A friendship, Princess Zarathil. You may travel to Earth with the humans, but Keith will go with you as your protector. The big alien stepped forward and bowed. I would be honored, Your Majesty. And General Thixgar, the Emperor continued, you will work with the human military leaders to explore these new tactical ideas. Thixgar bowed. As well as you command, Your Majesty. Alex felt like he was in a dream when Princess Zarathil had pointed at him a week ago, he never imagined it would lead to this. There is one more thing, the Emperor said, young human, you have passed the trials. According to our law, you may ask for a reward. Alex looked around the room. He could ask for technology or gold or anything else, but he already knew what he wanted. Your Majesty, he said, I ask for permission to stay here for a while longer to help build this friendship between our peoples and I. Princess Zarathil said, taking his hand. Ask permission to learn about his people. As he learns about ours, the Emperor smiled for the first time since Alex had met him. Granted, the celebration that followed lasted 3 days. Humans and Zafarans worked together to prepare food, music, and entertainment. Alex watched as barriers broke down and friendships formed. Amy Chen taught young Zephyrians how to fly human-style spacecraft. Pete Wilson showed Zephyrian soldiers new fighting techniques. Commander Parker, in general, spent hours discussing strategy. Captain Morrison worked with the Emperor to plan future exchanges between their worlds. But the best moment came on the second night of celebration. Alex and Princess Zarathil stood on a balcony overlooking the city. Below them, humans and Zafarans danced together in the streets. Do you think this will really work? Alex asked. I don't know, she said. Honestly, there will be problems. Some people on both sides will resist change, but look down there. Alex looked at the mixed crowd of humans and aliens celebrating together. I see hope, he said. Exactly, she said. And sometimes hope is enough to start with. She took his hand again. Alex, when I pointed at you that first day, I said you would be mine. I remember. Alex said, I was wrong. She said, you don't belong to me, but maybe if you want, we could belong to each other. Alex looked into her silver eyes. A month ago, he was just a communications officer who felt like he didn't belong anywhere. Now he was standing with an alien princess who had become his closest friend. I'd like that, he said. Good, she said with a smile, because I think we have a lot of work to do. 6 months later, Alex stood on the bridge of a new ship. It was built with both human and Zephyrian technology. Princess Zarathil stood beside him as his co-captain. They were heading to a new star system where other aliens had been detected. Their mission was not to conquer or threaten, but to make friends. Ready, Captain Cooper? Princess Zarathil asked. Alex smiled. He had been promoted after successfully establishing the human Zephyrian alliance. Ready, Captain Zarathil? Behind them on the bridge, humans and Zephyrians worked side by side. Keithal served as security chief. Dr. Zelanth was their science officer. Even General Thixkar had joined them as military advisor. Take us to the stars, Alex commanded as their ship jumped into hyperspace. Alex thought about how much had changed. He had started as the youngest and weakest member of a human crew. Now he was helping to build bridges between worlds. The alien princess had been right to point at him that day, not because he was strong or brave, but because he was willing to try something new. And in the end, Alex thought that might be the most human trait of all. The ship flew on toward new worlds and new friends, carrying the hope that different peoples could work together to build something better than any of them could create alone. In space, no one was alone anymore.